from our academy or some of our first team players. I think it's a great cause. But if there are other programs like that that any of your teams or your members are involved with, please reach out to me. That's the kind of stuff that we, want to make sure that we can connect with and contribute in some way, whether it's a signed shirt for a donation or something, further like an experience, or that may be a cause that our players are involved with. And we have a young and relatively new squad. It's still has some things to work out, but I will tell you this: if we're doing this in the fall, it's going to be a little different than last year, because they're starting to spring. I will tell you that I knew 2 coaches in the league, and they said that DC United is going to be sneaky good. So I said, okay, well, as long as they're not giving away cheap penalties and bottling it against some of the bottom teams, and we're in great shape. But having said that, I just want to take a minute. If you don't have one of the packets here, I just kind of put stuff together. I know some of you have season seats and things, and that's fantastic. I get asked an awful lot about my Miami, so I just kind of put this on the front. What we've done this year is, last year, you remember, we tied that in with the home opener, and then it was the second match, and everybody thought Messi was walking on water. No, and actually, he was actually probably at that advanced kinetics, trying to make sure he was fit. But after the injury he had before that. But we've tied this in with a few matches leading up to the month of April. And then you can do the Miami match, and you'll notice the pricing is a lot less. Just that we're not going to do what some other clubs have done, but it is still a pretty awesome experience when they are here. And they're a pretty good side, even if he doesn't play. You can ask Ben in Houston the other night. So that kind of spells out everything right here. You can reach me if you have anyone that has interest in that. I've already, just driving here from out of field tonight, I had 4 calls about that, just confirming their number. So even though there's not a plane flying ahead, or it's in the paper or on your feed all the time, there is a buzz about that. I touched here on the group info, so we're going to identify kind of an NVSL night. We haven't done that yet, but we're going to. Some of the things that we'll be able to do with that is, there's a link that you may see from time to time. We use that with the referee workshop, and I can tie that in. So whether it's your individual team or the whole league, I can put a fundraising component. We may have a side gift. Something I'm going to talk to Teddy about is, do we do something with like a co-branded item or some sort of item that you guys would want that would have DC United in the league, okay? So that's something that we'll look into as we go through the year. Thank God it's a long year, because we got plenty of time. But anyhow, anytime that any of your members want to get together, that info is here. Then I just touch on some of the season memberships. They're prorated right now. There's a lot of benefits with them. There's an 8-match. It's really more like a 6-match plan now if you want. The one of these actually includes Miami, so it's actually a pretty good deal. You're allowed to do 1 exchange, and it does give you some other benefits. And then the last one that's really popular is this 4-match. It's going to be 4 designated matches, including Miami. And then the last page, somehow this one is on here twice, or maybe it's the same one. Sorry, it's just the Miami 2-pack. So share this with any of your members. Use me as a resource if I can help you out. Any questions? Whether it's work, company, or anything, please let me know. And I mean that about other stuff. It's not just about, hey, going to matches and stuff. Although that's nice, there are other things that we can do, whether signed shirts, the experience, donations, school group if you guys have kids, anything like that, any kind of social group. Please reach out to me. Okay?
Dan, is there anything worth talking about the Club World Cup? Is there anything you can say on that?
Yeah, okay, I'll touch on that.
Okay.
We are hosting, as Teddy just asked me about the Club World Cup. Now, in a perfect world, we would control the tickets for that. This is where it doesn't go that great. FIFA has done that. And maybe you've seen how they jack the price really high, and they're coming back going, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Well, they're paying the price for that now. We are hosting one of the matches I'm really looking forward to because it's Juventus, and I don't know who they're playing, but it's really more about watching some of the U.S. players and the some of the other players they have there. But we're hosting that match on the 18th of June. The 22nd, there's another one, and the 26th, and to be completely transparent, I haven't memorized them. FIFA is controlling those tickets. I do have a link that could take you to that, and they are discounted. Now that link was supposed to be, and this is where I love FIFA, was supposed to be just for DC, but apparently it's good for anywhere in the country. So if you do have interest in any of those matches, let me know. If you're a full season member, there's going to be an email coming about the World Cup next year, or 2026. So there's going to be a pre-sale for that too. So that's right, it is next year.
Yeah.
But and we are going to have a couple of special events that we're going to announce later this year. We typically have an international friendly, like when we played Bayern Munich or Celtic. So that is going to be on the schedule for July. So just waiting for the contract, and then I could speak freely on it. But it'll be another European side. This time it might have more of a Spanish flair.
Look at all those heads nodding.
Yeah. So, any questions though? If you haven't done the enter to win, I do have some prizes. I can take a break.
Okay.
Anybody
And
do
we
it,
can,
and then,
sure.
when you have a break,
Awesome.
I'll do that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Dan, thank you so much.
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. Guys, so this is the reason why we tell you guys to show up in person if you can. You're missing out on some goodies that you can get. Shout out to Dan, guys. He's done so much to really help us elevate, our league in the local area. And so, Dan, we want to thank you for that. The winning teams, you guys know, he's critical in getting folks out to the games, putting the team's name on the Jumbotron, and getting publicly recognized. And also, too, sometimes he calls me out of the blue and says, hey, I got some goodies to give away. I'll take my lunch break and drive over to Audi and go pick it up.
Yeah.
So the open guys, you guys are really spoiled, and the reason why you're spoiled is because of Dan. So, all right. So thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
We don't do anything like this with any other league. There are those social groups like, I don't want to say their names, but nothing like this, okay? And it is an open door. I just need to, the one takeaway I want you to have is it's a two-way street.
Yep.
And I would really encourage you to, if you have suggestions, I would ask you to go through, Garth and Teddy himself, Ricardo is not here too. Those are the three I generally speak to. Because we just want to continue to make the league better. And one last thing, he does talk about, I have my antenna up for opportunities for you guys to be able to access fields. That's always a tough, question in any league. And something that I'm still kind of exploring is how would you be able to play out at Loudon? So maybe we do a final there. So there are some things that we're working on. It could be that one of the finals in Audi Field are out there too. So just stay tuned.
Yeah.
Things take time.
Yeah, things take time. And again, partnerships, you have to understand, like, there's a starting point, and as it evolves and as it grows and the longer we're in it, these are the opportunities that fall in our lap. For instance, some of you guys went out to the season opener. Dan said, hey, we got tickets to give away. First come, first served, they were gone in less than an hour. So
I wish you had given more out.
Right. So again, these are the things that we get. Okay. All right. Moving on. Oops. Hold on. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Moving on. So we accomplished quite a bit this fall. So Rashid, I'm going to pan the camera over to you because I can. So because of this guy here, y'all see him, because of this dude here, he's another big reason why. She could probably get some shout outs on on the Google call.
Shout out you guys, man.
We're able to really increase our notoriety simply because of the fact that we're able to, stream more games and all of that. And so, because of that, we're able to put more games up on our YouTube channel. He comes out to Wakefield, does quite a bit of that. The Open Division, shout out to you guys for sticking around and helping us grow. This is the most number of teams we had since we relaunched the division almost 2 years ago. We had 10 teams, and boy, it was competitive. It was a really good. Last fall was really good. Touched on the parity there. We had different champions throughout the season last year. Another big thing, you guys, we talk about the struggle with field space. Dan even touched base on that also as well. We managed to add some additional field to our fall cycle. So that's huge. That's huge. Now we have to replicate that on the spring side so that when teams stay, we'll make sure we can have enough room for those who want to come in the spring. Okay. We have a ton of referees come and assess our games. We've strengthened our relationships with a couple of youth clubs. You guys know we've been friends with Braddock Road for a long time, and another youth club which allows us access. We give them access to fields, and they give us access to fields. It's a partnership. That's how it works. Which is good. New teams join the division. Different divisions throughout the league. More folks coming out to our games, which is really awesome. And our social media presence has grown also as well. We now have over 2,000 followers on our IG page, not bad for a league of our size. Over 1,000 followers on Facebook, again, not bad for a league our size. I always have this slide up every single time we do these meetings, and that is what we need to sustain our growth and to keep moving forward in the right direction. Dan, Garth, and I cannot do it by ourselves. There's so many ways you guys can help volunteer. One of the things I would really love to have is maybe like some field monitors for the nights we're busy. Sunday nights is our busiest. We have 18, 20 teams playing on Sundays, and then Thursday nights, and we have that one odd Wednesday night game. It would be good to have people there to kind of help us. So there are opportunities there. Leads for sponsorships and our partners. Garth was able to get Kilroy's in last year, so that helps us. We see, being able to purchase new equipment. You see, we got 2 cameras. We have them out. Those are the things that helps us. And also, too, guys, this helps get a social media page, hold tryouts. This will help you keep your teams healthy for the long run. And then this last point here, some of you guys might remember, especially when we took on this project to get things back up and going. I said this once, and I'll say it again. If you stick with us, we're going to stick with you. And so, but you guys have really stuck with us, so we really want to thank you guys. That's the new camera right there. So that's the new camera, and then we have this really cool device here that allows us to live stream all at once. You don't even need a computer, so that's what Rashida's using. We had a failure with our laptop, so I just brought that out, and there we go. We're live streaming. So we invested in that, and then of course that'll allow us to be able to live stream more games for you guys. This goes without saying. The writing in the red. We are just here to live stream the games for you. Think of us as just NVSL TV or something, right? We are not VAR. Don't make this sign with the refs and say, "Oh, I got you on camera" and all that. No. That's not cool. And actually, that behavior honestly needs to stop. It's being cracked down on the high level, on higher level leagues, and it really needs to stop here. Okay, when you see myself and Rashid out there working, we're out there early. We got here early. Look at all the equipment we brought out. Do you think we really want to take any flack from you guys about a call on the field? We probably don't. So please be mindful of that. Again, Robinson Stadium, we record games there. We rotate the 40s in along with the open as well, so we get enough coverage. On Thursdays midweek, the 30s get dedicated coverage as well. And with that being said, always be mindful of your appearance and how you look. It is part of our league rules. Please have a proper jersey. Please have numbers. We have been, unfortunately, have had to fine players for this. It's a $25 fine. So look the part. Make sure you have a proper jersey. Don't put a tape number on there. Don't have markers. Don't look tacky. If we see it, we will expect the bill. Okay? Next thing's up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I'm going to play a quick video. So I was privileged to go to the United States Soccer Federation annual general meeting this past weekend. Our state board, our state affiliate, appointed me as a delegate, so I was able to go, and it was a really good experience. And you know, this is the video that they showed amongst all the adult state associations, and they also had this in the actual general meeting in front of the president of U.S. Soccer. So I just wanted to show this to you guys. Let me get this thing going here.
Soccer is a beautiful game, full of passion that can bring out the best in us. But when passion crosses the line, it harms the game's integrity and the safety of those who work in service to soccer. Referees are essential to the game, yet they often face situations that threaten their well-being. In our commitment to protect and empower our officials, U.S. Soccer has strengthened its referee abuse prevention policy. The revised policy encourages referees, players, coaches, and spectators to report abuse. Referee abuse is not always physical. Aggressive language and behavior are also forms of abuse. Comments or gestures intended to insult, belittle, or undermine a referee are unacceptable. This behavior results in a minimum 2-game suspension. Abusive language, harassment, intimidation, or threats towards a referee will result in a minimum 4-game suspension. Physical threats or derogatory language, in person or online, result in a minimum 6-game suspension. Discriminatory actions targeting a referee's race, ethnicity, gender, orientation, or other aspects of their identity result in a minimum 10-game suspension. Far too often, referees also endure physical abuse. Outside of a friendly handshake, there is never any reason to touch the referee. Even minor deliberate physical contact, if unwanted, will result in a minimum 3-game suspension. Intentional physical confrontation, like shoving or throwing objects, results in a minimum 10-game suspension. Violent acts, such as physical assault on referees, threaten the safety of everyone involved. These acts can result in a lifetime ban and legal action. Together, we have the power to shape the future of soccer and create a culture of respect where players, coaches, spectators, and referees can enjoy the beautiful game the way it was intended. Be a force for good. Respect the call.
Okay. Someone sent me a message. Okay, all right. So, in a moment, I'll have Valiko come up, and if Kevin Cook wants to come up, if you guys want to both come up at the same time or separately, that's fine. So basically, U.S. Soccer Day. This new policy went into effect actually starting this month. Okay, so if for some reason a ref reports you to the state, NBCVSA, they're ones who allows us to be affiliated, then those are the minimum actions they will have to do. Okay, so now fortunately we don't have a major problem with that in our league, but you know, from time to time these things do come up, and so we all got to do our part. I'll get to the statistics here in a moment. You guys can see on the screen, but I'll have, look, if you want to come up, sure, real quick, and he will take questions.
I'll come up too, and let's let Valiko do all the
Sure, okay. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. I've seen a lot of familiar faces, but for those who don't know me, my name is Veliko. I signed the open division and the over 30 division. And
Kevin signed the over 40s.
thanks for having me and us tonight. Congratulations to all winners in the fall. Truly believe that it was a great season. It was my pleasure to be part of it, and it's been always a pleasure to be part of this league. I truly believe that we have a great crew of referees, a couple of new additions. The league is very attractive. And kudos to the league directors for the support and organizations, and kudos to you guys as well, because I truly believe you as the captains and managers are the ones who set the tone. And I might repeat my message from the fall meeting, but the only thing that I can ask for is just patience and respect, because I truly believe that everything can be resolved in a proper communication, no matter what's going on a field. And there's one thing why we're on a game. Our number one job is to keep everyone safe and to enforce the rules. So if a ref asks a player to put their shin guards on, it's definitely for their own safety and their own benefit. But once again, it is my pleasure to be part of this league, and I'm looking forward to another great season.
Yeah, I was just, I think you made me think of the shin guards. Saturday morning, I was at a field. I was actually monitoring referees, but some kid got carted off the field because the trainer thought he had a broken leg, and he was wearing shin guards like this. Because we're not allowed to, we're not allowed to really monitor that anymore. They have shin guards to let it go, but yeah. So the referees are trying to keep everybody safe. So that's why they say remove the earrings. If you guys can police all that before we get on the field, it makes everything so much better. Because it always comes better. It's better when it comes from the captains than when it comes from the referees.
Okay, I think we have a question from somebody. Alejandro, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? You can unmute yourself.
Hey, so yeah, I just had a question. I guess regarding.
Alejandro, real quick, could you just tell us your name and your team, please?
Of course, I'm Alejandro Luna. I'm with Barbros. The only question, one of the questions I had was, I guess, regarding the, I guess, so like this happened last season. Someone on the coaching staff got upset and kicked a water bottle towards the bench, away from the refs, not towards the refs or anything. Does that constitute as a yellow card?
It can count in any direction, I would say that way. I mean, I've not been in the situation, but it could be treated as an unsporting behavior, it could be treated as a
Dissent.
violent conduct, so it all depends. I mean,
Right. So if that call was made, or the whistle blew, or maybe it didn't blow, and then he kicked the water bottle. So one of the things a lot of players don't understand is that it's action, words or action. It doesn't have to be directed at anybody when it comes to dissent. So people will say, "Well, I wasn't saying it to you." It's like, yeah, okay, but you said it loud enough for everybody to hear. I said it to your teammates loud enough for everybody to hear. So it's possible.
Okay, and then I guess my follow-up question is, this happened in a couple games where I actually ended up just showing frustration, not really derogatory terms or anything like that, just continuous, calling out what I saw, which was last man, tackle from behind, goal opportunity, and I was just completely ignored by the refs. And I mean, even the other coach was kind of just wondering if they were going to call something. But I guess in those kind of situations, what could you suggest that, how could we approach the refs to kind of, I guess, make sure that they saw that, or saw what we saw, or how they can, I guess, explain that they didn't see what we saw?
In situations like that, I completely get the frustration of the players, and I'm sure that they want immediate action. But to answer your question, I truly believe the best approach, as I mentioned before earlier, is just a respectful approach to the ref, and I'm sure that a conversation can happen, or a quick resolve can happen in explanation. Now, agreements and disagreements will always be there, and we'll go from there, but we'll always try to take the accurate decision on the field. So I think the respectful approach to the ref, I think, is the best.
Yeah, so usually what comes out is, didn't you see that, or that was a foul, or where's the yellow card, or something like that. If you ask the referee to explain what he saw, say, Ref, I thought you know, it looked like you got clipped from behind or tripped from behind. I just want to know, you can explain the call. If you say it in a respectful way, then, you know, most of the time they're going to tell you what they saw, or, and it might be different. But it's just like any human interaction, if you come in full force, the walls go up. And it's hard in the heat of the moment. It can be difficult to stay calm. But you know, if you just say, I thought that was a foul. Can you just explain the call? Or I didn't think that was a foul. Can you explain the call to me so I know what's going on?
But definitely not kicking a water bottle on a sideline.
That's true.
Understood. Thank you.
Alejandro, great questions. Thank you so much. Okay, for the sake of time, we will take 2 more questions. Okay, I know we can't litigate things from the past, but you know. Okay, all right, Jake, we'll have you go first.
Yep, Jake Nelson, BWFC. Question, because you brought up shin guards and jewelry and things like that. Is there discipline that comes from coming onto the field without guards or with jewelry on, or is it just sending the player off to remove or put on? Because I've seen it go both ways. Maybe a yellow card sometimes, or no, just leave the field and take care of it.
We expect that the players will step on a field in a proper equipment.
Sure.
But a message and just sending them back to out of the field and putting, regardless, shin guards or removing, I think that's the proper way.
Yeah, so, and they just have to know that they can't come back on the field until they're beckoned onto the field by the referee. They can't just throw the stuff on and run back on. So that's sort of their punishment, is they have to sit out for a little bit while they fix it.
Okay, so no yellow.
Should not be a yellow. We'll try to make sure the referees know that.
I don't know if you experience a yellow, but I don't know if that happened and the player goes or something like that is happening.
Possible.
But as I mentioned, the proper thing is just to send them out of the field.
Thank you.
Okay, Nielsen, you had a question?
Yeah, so how do you manage red card situations on games from the previous week going into the next week? Like, is there
If you can mute your mic, please. Those on the Google call, please mute your mics.
Is there a report that's disseminate a report?
We will get you in a second. We are managing. I'm cameraman and also moderating a meeting, so please have patience. Okay. Nielsen, go ahead.
Yeah, so how do you manage these situations where, say, for example, the player gets a red card from the week before, and then this week he's on the field, but the referee who's managing that game is completely unaware? How do we disseminate the report from previous week to week to week?
That seems like a question for you.
Yeah, I that sounds like okay. So this is how it works. Sorry, I'm behind the camera. I'm trying to do multiple things here. So I'll go ahead and come in front, and then so you guys can see and hear me talk. So guys, this is how it works. Referees generate a referee report after every single match. Okay, and so they get it to the assigners. The assigners then get it to us. What goes great. Sometimes I'll get home at midnight. He's already emailed us already the report. So we have it. So when we go into our weekly meetings, we're dealing with that. Okay, and then from there, that is when we then, take whatever action. So, let's say if a player gets a card for violent conduct. Violent conduct is 3 games. Okay, so if you take a swing at someone, whether you hit them or miss them, doesn't matter. That's violent conduct. Dane is also a ref, so we have an experienced guy. Also, he actually helps adjudicate a lot of this stuff, right? So when we get a red card report, then we take the appropriate action. We notify all the team managers are notified. We email the team manager and say, hey, your player did so-and-so is out for whatever number of games. And we also have a shared Google Drive where we put the information in there, and so they know the players that are supposed to be sitting out. Nielsen, I don't know if does that kind of answer your question, or?
Teddy, are we doing something on the website now? I think that we're trying to develop.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Give me one second.
But that's the answer you want to hear.
What are you wanting to know?
Well, can I jump in and say one thing?
Hold on, one at a time.
It's related though.
Okay. One at a time. We have to get through this presentation, so I don't want to take too much time. It's already 7:45.
I mean, we experienced a situation where the referee was completely unaware of a player
Right.
playing that he
Should have been
he
sitting
wasn't
out.
supposed to be playing.
Right, okay.
So I want to know, like, you're telling me that end of it, but the other end of it, we experienced it, and the referee was completely unaware.
Okay, I know the situation that you're talking about. So, guys, okay, I don't like to point to specific instances that has happened to people in here, so I'm gonna do my best to speak around it. Okay, so when somebody blatantly decides not to follow the rules, or they accidentally choose not to follow the rules, whatever the reason it is, right? We have a baseline, and that is, hey, if you catch a card, you're out. And we notify the managers of it. So if there's a gap or a lapse in the communication or whatever, and whatever it is, at the end of the day, there's no excuse for it, period. Okay? It would behoove me to think that if you caught a card 1 week, you wouldn't know that you're not supposed to be playing, right? So, but we always give opportunity for people to give their side of the story. Okay, we don't just always take everyone's word as gold, right? We will always ask the other team, "Hey, tell us what happened. Tell us what happened," and we talk to the referee. Sometimes we have conversations with them, and we get everything, and we make a decision from there. Okay, and then after that, then we notify the team of the actions that the whatever has been levied against them by the league.
Yeah, I would say the short end of it is, everybody in this room is responsible.
Right.
You're responsible for your players. You're gonna end up with a longer
Suspension,
suspension,
fines.
and the teams are gonna get fined. So, it's not worth it. The one that you're speaking of resulted in a lengthy suspension and team fine. So, you know, we're cracking down on it. It's only happened to our knowledge one time. And, you know, I don't know if Teddy's gonna get to it. We're working on a system solution where you're not gonna be able to check that player in. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's kind of where we're
Yeah,
headed.
we'll get to that. Those things are later on in the presentation. Okay. I know we have some people here on the Google.
Can I get my one question in?
They've been waiting for a minute, so let me just go. We already took two in the room. I'll get to you, Santiago. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. We have. Okay. All right. Abdul, I think that's you.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, Abdul, go ahead with your question. Okay, guys, can we please pay attention, please? Unmute yourself, Abdul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abdul.
Hey guys, my name is Abdullah, and I'm playing for Supreme FC, and I have two important questions that I'm really I've been trying to ask some refs about, but I've never had like a straight out answer. My first one is, example, if you have a corner and then you're facing towards where they're taking the corner, and unfortunately the ball passed you and someone behind you headed the corner, and then unfortunately your hand is up and then the ball hits you from the back, then it hit your hand. Is that supposed to be a penalty kick? Because I don't do it. FIFA rule change, and because the way that I understand it can be a penalty if you're facing towards the ball, and I don't know if FIFA changed it.
Okay, all right, Abdul, they'll answer your question. Guys, after this, we have one more person here in the stream who has a question, and then we have someone else in the room. So we'll take two more questions, and we have to move on, okay, for the sake of time. So, Bill, thank you for your question. Do you guys want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, I think every situation can be treated definitely in a different way, but the most important thing is that hand in a natural position, or is it a deliberate hand? So I don't know.
Yeah,
hard to say, but I'm sure that the referee will have.
Yeah, so you're looking at, is it a natural position for the action that they're taking? And if they're jumping up there, ahead of the ball, everybody's jumping ahead of the ball, and your arm's up like this, that's not really a natural position for jumping up to head the ball. So that's gonna get somebody, if it's down at their side, and especially, and you look at the distance and the speed of the ball too, the distance between the players and the speed of the ball. But every situation is gonna be different, so it's hard to say, and, we don't have VAR. You have to split-second decision, based on what you saw, and then you move on.
Okay, all right. We will take Santiago, and then we'll go back over into the Google, because we have one person with their hand raised.
Okay, so well, first I just want to say I like the rule change to protect the referees. I support that 100%. Some people get a little too excited at times, and it's not that serious. My question is it possible I know the rule right now for offsides is you call the offsides once the player gets the ball, right? Like, you don't call it right away.
It's too obvious, you can call it.
Is it possible to change it? So, because I've had refs go, oh, we follow the FIFA rules. The FIFA rules is, you pass the ball from half field, you get it at the PK spot, and then you wait that whole run to call the offside. So,
I think it
I don't know what you guys think, but I think
it's up to the league and
that is just one small request. And
what you want us to do.
Well, okay, so are you asking to change how an offside rule is called?
It just
that way, like, we don't do the whole run all the way to the end,
Okay, so
he's trying to say it was obvious that that's the only person going for the ball. Go ahead and pop the flag. Rather than
yeah. What if someone does a slide tackle and it's an offside, but the ref didn't call offsides? Like,
okay, all right. Dane, I don't know what to say on this one, but I'm gonna take a stab. Oh, you go ahead.
I mean,
it's just an idea.
Keep in mind that changing a rule is one thing, but at the end of the day, as we mentioned, some of the games, and once again, kudos to the league. The league brings a lot of attraction to refs to use them as accessible games.
Okay.
So imagine an assessor is there and you enforce some rules, and the assessor is there to enforce the center or the AR. So we gotta enforce these rules regardless of what the league, I think, we're gonna decide. But I truly believe that if it's affiliated the league, I think we gotta go by.
Yeah, and
that's fine. And you're the best ref I've ever played with, by the way. But some of the other ones.
Say that to him.
You asked for the red card.
He runs my indoor team on Thursdays. So some of the refs I feel like don't know the offside rule that well. And I've watched games, I watched the playoff games for under 30 to over 30, and I saw some missed calls for offsides, and
I have videos for you.
So if we could do, like, you said something about you were monitoring a game, you weren't even reffing a game. If we could, if there's extra money to send a ref to one of the games to, like, grade the referees to make sure they know the rules. Like, the same way we protect the players, we have to protect the referees. We have to also make sure that they know the rules.
I'm gonna just kindly interject here. We all know reffing is a tough job, and our league's affiliated. They're gonna call it based on the way it should be called at the end of the day. And it's their call. We can't go modify the laws of the game, right? The IFA, the International Football Association Board, gives FIFA mandates on how on the rules of the game and how refs have to call it. We can't go and arbitrarily bend that, and our league's affiliated. So that's what he said. If a ref is trying to move up, right, because he or she has aspirations to go and ref, college, semi-pro, professional, and an assessor comes in, they're probably gonna fail, right? So you can't just
Yes, and your league is attractive. For
right.
that reason.
Assessors come. They come.
Yeah. But as far as the other point that you made, we know referee mentors and we mentor referees. So if the league wants to put in some money, because it's not that they don't know the laws of the game, it's a lot of times it's the application, and everybody's trying to improve. Just like players train referees, they don't get too many chances to go to practice, but when they're at the game, having somebody there is helpful. So that's something y'all can consider.
Great questions, though. Good questions. All right, we have Faiz.
Yes. Hi, Teddy. Good evening to everyone. First of all, this is Faiz Begamon from Ariana FC. Well, first of all, I wanted to send my gratitude to the directors of NVSL and appreciation for what you guys do. We came back after a really long time last season. Was our first season after maybe many years, so we really enjoyed being back in the league. And we're one of the old schoolers in NVSL.
Yes, you
We have
are.
a
Yes, you
very
are.
long history with NVSL. I know the refs mentioned earlier, as far as, the due diligence as far as players, shin guards, jewelry, so on and so forth. My question was, as far as the refs' due diligence in terms of field equipment, what sort of precautions they take or procedures they follow in terms of checking to make sure the nets are all intact in the post, the field is lined up? I know we play in high schools most of the time, but some of the goals are not fully attached to the post, and the ball would come to the side nettings and stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of get a response as far as what are the due diligence refs are doing in terms of making sure those things, the field is safe and everything is intact, goal, flags, lines, so on and so forth. Thank you.
Excellent question. You guys want to take a stab at that?
I mean, field equipment is definitely something that we will check before the game, and especially the ARs and the center in a pre-game. But in the same time, we don't have that much control just because we know how many programs are going on that field and before that. So I think it's more on the league, but checking on it, yes. I mean, we will check it, and if there is an issue, I mean, we should definitely address it. Or if it's fixable right away, it's definitely will be taken care. Especially if there is any safety concern or issue, we'll definitely have to address it and even not start the game if it's a safety issue.
Yeah, I would say we also need to hear back from you guys too, because we have money to replace nets. We choose not to use corner flags because that's a major pain in the ass. But if we hear of issues on the fields, we do seek volunteers to go help us replace nets. We just replaced the nets at Wakefield last season. And we do sponsor some of that stuff with BRYC, because like if you play at Robinson, those goals are actually property of BRYC. So we will contribute to help replace those nets as needed. So, but we need to hear back from you guys, because we're not going to go out and inspect every field all the time. So,
and to your note, Dan, I have to add that speaking of Wakefield, I know that I've addressed the nets and also the lighting.
The lights. Yep.
So we definitely keep an eye on the equipment.
Yep. Okay, guys, we have to move on, but guys, thank you guys so much for taking questions. I'll add a little bit more regarding that. Faiz, that was a great question. So, again,
Thank you.
That we share the goals with. Actually, I should take a step back. They allow us to use their goals. If they don't give us access to those goals, we can't use Robinson. Okay, so that's the reason why I said league needs and volunteers and stuff. We can't do all this by ourselves. You guys see Rashid and I hauling this big rig of equipment, like we're running around setting up. We don't, so feedback from you is critical, and then because we communicate with Braddock Road, right? So if you tell us these things, we can work with them. Because I know there was an instance where there was an issue regarding that resulted in an unfortunate situation, but immediately I went to Garth, and Garth gave me some zip ties and stuff, and I had it in my bag just in case that situation happened again to try and, fix those nets. But again, we will do our best. We're pretty open and responsive. If you guys shoot us an email, we respond, I think, pretty quickly. Okay.
yeah, I think that, team managers should walk the field as well. I
Right.
know I routinely have to remove field hockey goals off
Right.
the pitch, right? So, I mean, we don't expect the referees to be doing that. We should be doing that as players and managers.
And if you guys recall, the legacy teams who've been here for a while, you guys used to have to set up nets, put up corner kick flags, and then take them down and store them away and all that. The new guys coming in, you guys don't really have to do that, but that's going to change for the open pretty soon. You guys will start putting the goals up and putting them away. Okay, back to the referee stuff. Again, I'm going to brief this really quick. So nationally, 60% of referees have quit. They just don't come back, okay, because abuse is terrible. Now, abuse has actually gone up in the last 5 years. So that's not good. And then in Virginia, I managed to actually get the ear of the head of the Virginia State Referee Association. 46% of referees in Virginia have quit. They're not coming back. And unfortunately, we've had a nationally badged ref quit our league. We've had regional badged refs quit. I think we had a couple quit last year. Now, again, we don't have a major problem with it, but do you really want to lose these gems and then have someone who's not as experienced come and work your game? So you really need to think long and hard about it, right? I get it. You're in the heat of the moment. Maybe a call didn't go your way. Maybe the ref's is having a terrible day in the office. But like what Vallejo said, what Kevin Cook said, I've seen where we started and I see where we are now. We've come a long way. And I think anyone who says otherwise is really not being reasonable. We went from having refs not showing up to games to now we have 3-man crews. They're there, and they're professional. Anytime you guys give us feedback about a ref, we tell Vallejo. If Vallejo gives us feedback about some of the teams, and we work together to make things better, right? So, okay. That was a good back and forth. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on this again. Behavior, expectations. Team managers, you're responsible for your guests, spectators, your team, how they act. Especially when we're playing games at Robinson, where it's open. I have to check my phone because sometimes there's someone maybe having some tech issues, not be able to see what we're doing. At Robinson, especially, again, on Sundays is our busiest days. Again, when you arrive on the field, at the field, if there's a game going on, especially if there's a Braddock Road game going on or an NVSL game on, don't cut through the field, don't cut through the corners, right? Stay off the field, let them finish their games. There's plenty of warm-up space, right? I personally know of user groups that have lost their permits. They go to the county and say they keep doing this, and if we lose a permit at Robinson, we're dead in the water. Okay, so please be mindful of that. Player conduct, get a red card, just go home, okay? Or go to Kilroy's to have a beer, right? They're our friends. Their brewski will help you calm down a little bit, okay? 9 times out of 10, when players stick around, nothing good really comes out of it, okay? So just leave, okay? And I know it's been a little loose, but we're going to be tightening it up this season, okay? So inform your players to go. When you're on red card suspension or any sort of suspension, you can't come to the game. We've had too many instances where people show up and they just act stupid. So just go home and chill out and come back when your suspension is over with. And then lastly, your red card stuff, it carries over. So if you had a red card in your championship game in the fall, or a red card in the final regular season game, that carries over. Right? So don't think just because it's a new season that everything's wiped away. No, you got to serve it like everybody else. Okay? So, and then lastly, remember that if you want to appeal anything or any sanctions, please do that within 48 hours. It's $50 for us to hear any appeals. Again, you guys know the drill by now. Spectators and anyone else who's not part of the team cannot be in the player bench area, all right? The refs are already doing enough to watch the games, but they shouldn't have to keep telling you guys to do that. You guys hear me holler when I'm live streaming, when people are cutting the fields, or I have to run down there and tell people to go back into the stands. Guys, come on, we're an affiliated league, let's act like it. When Braddock Road, when the youngsters are following the rules better than we are, that's not good. So please tighten that up, all right? Again, your kids can't be down there. We've had instances where children have literally run onto the field. These balls are flying 30, 40 miles an hour. But we don't need to say more about that. And again, listen to referee instructions at all times. If this continues to be an issue, we will ask your team for compliance. If it does not get better, unfortunately, we will have to take admin action, okay? I think before we get to this, where Dane's gonna come up and talk about this stuff, Dane, you wanna raffle your items away?
Yep.
This is why you guys gotta come to the meetings and...
All right. Okay, again, I've got some swag here. If you want to pull that out real quick, I would do that. There's a pen right there. So I have a few items here, and I'll just randomly pull these out, the name out here, including something that's not in here, but I'll do that. Okay. Has dimples there, all right. Morello Camacho. Okay.
That's Marcelo. Hey!
Marcelo.
Let's give him a shout out.
Sign ball from Stroud.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, all right. Another one here. Kevin Cook.
Oh,
well.
A signer got hooked up.
Yeah, this will come in handy. All right, there you go. Let's see here. Another one. We got a few scarves, so. Jason.
Hey, Jason.
All right, Jason. How about a Celtic co-branded?
Oh,
which one? Which one?
Jason Mears. Sorry.
Oh, there's two? Which one?
Yeah, Jason Mears.
Sims.
Not Sims. Sorry, Sims.
Well, hold on. There's more.
There's more stuff.
Yeah. Nielsen.
Hey, Nielsen.
How about a Bayern Munich one?
See?
Are you a Bayern Munich guy?
I'm an Arsenal fan. Thank you.
Well, I'll go for it.
Hey, this is Nielsen's first time showing up in person. See, he got some swag. You guys got to come in.
Yeah. Yeah, they did? Yeah. Well, you know what? Jason's going to win again. But you know how many trophies they've got? None. There you go. I mean, that or I have a book. Which one do you want? That's good. Okay. All right. No worries. All right. 3 more things here, folks. So almost everybody. Eduardo.
Yo.
Hey.
Eduardo. Nice little. This is a good book. Coaching book. All right. Yep. All right. And I've got one more of those. All right. Let's see here. Let's see them up. Adam.
Hey.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And then I've got one last thing here that I will follow up with. It's going to be 4 seats for a match. And
okay.
So these might, I'm not sure where they're going to be just yet. But Eric.
Oh.
Yeah. So you got my info on the handouts and stuff?
I actually didn't grab one.
Oh, Eric, I'm sorry.
2 seats.
No, you gotta take the whole packet. All right? So take one of these.
I got one now.
You got one? All right, good. And I'll tell you, I'll leave those with you.
Got it.
Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
You know, I'll follow up with Eric there. And you know what? Because you guys are so good, we're gonna pick one more.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we'll pick another one. Damon. You got your back up. 4 seats, Damon, as well. Okay. So I'll follow up with these folks, you know, individually. I know you got stuff to cover, but thank you. And if you're not here in person,
you're missing out.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry.
out.
All right. You got to be here to win.
All right.
All right.
Dan, thank you so much. Thank you, Dan.
You got it. Well,
this is perks and benefits of being part of NVSL. Okay. Yeah, I want to breeze through the rest of this, guys, so that all the divisions can vote, so we can go home. I hear a ding. I don't know if we have a question. Abdul said that next season he'll be the first one to go to our meeting. All right, Abdul. There's motivation for you, buddy. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, bonus.
All right. So
bonus.
I got a couple more scarves, so we might actually have one for everybody. So if you didn't win, oh man, I got 3 more. So
bonus. This is the first time ever.
Daniel.
Me. Hey.
All right. There you go. I think everybody's gonna come home with something at this rate. Jake.
Hey.
All right. people are definitely gonna have to come. And, I can read that. Yeah, Dane.
Oh,
Why don't you pass mine on to somebody else? I got a
Sure.
closet, I got a closet full of them.
You just gave me the one hand, that would be him right here.
Inaki.
Naki, you didn't fill out the form, Naki, so I'm gonna ask you to do this real quick and I'll get out of here.
You got it
All right.
last year.
Woo! Yeah, wait a minute, you got a great last name there.
Yeah.
Number 25.
All right. Is that it?
Yep, that's it, man.
All right. Hey, but we had some bonus prizes.
Wait a minute. Well, actually, Marcelo already did. Yeah, okay, so we're good. All right, everybody wants something. That's
All right.
why you gotta get here in person.
You gotta come here, guys.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, thank you. All right, I'm gonna have Dane come up and talk about the budget. There are gonna be some changes, so please pay attention. There's a lot of important stuff that we're gonna be we've worked on in the off season for you guys. Dane, I'll that's not really. You can just speak impromptu.
All right, so hey, I will say that over the last few years, we've brought a club back that was basically nearly broke to very solid standing financially. Last year we had 88 teams total over 3 seasons, spring, summer, fall. So quite an accomplishment. We expect to only grow from there. Fields are limiting a factor. But I just want to touch base. Our expenses are pretty minimal. We've invested quite a bit in the live streaming, which I think we're getting a lot of feedback from. It's very positive for the league to help grow the league. So we're going to continue to do that. In fact, I think we're expanding this season to try to do 2 games at a time. So, but other than that, really, we don't take any money from the league. It really is our expenses. You guys, I've mentioned this before. Our biggest expense is referees. And just to give you kind of a perspective of that, we spent $90,000 last year in referee fees.
Wow.
So it's expensive to run a league, and that's why you guys, when you see it around $2,000 a team, you'll know where it's going to. To be affiliated would cost us about $21,000, and then to use the county fields is like $35,000. And as we mentioned last season, there's a substantial increase for out-of-county players. We're going to get into that if you want to talk about that.
Sure, absolutely.
So Teddy and our website designer has done a lot of behind-the-scenes work for our website, and we've really tried to make modifications based on the feedback from you guys. And you're going to have three ways to be able to pay this season. And so you're going to see that the team fee is less this year because we are going to pass along the out-of-county to those out-of-county players. So you can still, as a team manager, pay the team fee in one fatal lump sum, right? It's up to you. The other way you can do it is the lump sum's going to be in there. The team managers are putting a guarantee credit card on file, but you can say, hey, I'm going to have 18 players. So just to make the math simple in my head, say it's $1,800, you would charge each player $100, and they would go into our system, register, and pay that. So you can have team fee registration, you can have individual player registration, and then those out-of-county players, when they register, they're going to get hit for an additional $50. It's the out-of-county fee. It went up from $30 last season, and so we are basically passing that on to those individuals. So, try to recruit in county. It's up to the player, right? So, we're hoping that this streamlines it. It is going to put a bigger burden on that individual player that's out of county. I have a lot of out of county players. I ate it. You know, it's just the way that I operate. But so you're going to have choices to make. Again, you could pay the lump sum, but even if you pay the lump sum, those individual out-of-county players, when they go to register, they're going to get hit for $50. That's the way it's going to work. So after the season, we're willing to take feedback on it, and we can tweak it from there. But this is it's pretty robust. It gives you multiple options as a team manager.
What's the deal with the out-of-county going up so much, or?
Just the county fees, they fought over it, and so the per-person player went up
Is that just a tax that goes to the county?
Yes,
Them to
it's straight
fund the
tax to
pool?
the county, and
Right.
that's what's part of our $21,000 or $35,000 that we pay to the county. So that does pay for the lights, pays for field maintenance, pays for returfing the fields. All that money does not, to my understanding, it doesn't go into the general fund. It goes straight for the county fields and maintenance and stuff. So, you know, it is a charge for the, and all the fields pay it. Rectangular fields, diamond fields, they pay it for basketball courts and schools and all that.
Okay.
Hey, Dane.
Yeah.
So you're saying if the manager just wants to go in and pay the whole team fee, when the individual players go in and register, they're gonna get hit, if they're out of county, you don't see their address, you'll hit them with a $50 fee?
Correct.
Yeah, I can explain more about when we get to it.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's gonna work.
Dave, I remember last season, I think we had this question come up, but you said that we had usually as a league kind of compensated for that in our league. And what was the reason for the change in that philosophy, going to this a la carte system, so to speak?
Just feedback from managers. Some managers wanted the option to have teams individually play the league directly, as opposed to you chasing each player and saying, hey, you still owe me $150. If they want to get on the roster, if you go to that individual registration, they want to get on the roster, they're going to have to pay that 100 and whatever you plug in there.
Hey, you're going to talk about this more in detail?
I'll talk a little more
all
in
right.
detail. These meetings are important. These are why we stressed we need to have a team representative here so you guys know what you're going into for this season. The whole point is to make it's a catch. It allows us to lower our base rate. Dane has already calculated that, but it also gives you guys a bit more flexibility. Okay, I mean it's just, and what we're doing is standard in a lot of other leagues anyway. Because what we've been doing before, and Dane, correct me if I'm wrong, is we basically are just taking an average.
Yeah, we took a swag at an average last season. We lost a lot of money because we ended up with a lot more out of county than we expected. We did okay in the fall. So it's instead of just being a swag and ended up being, it's going to be, hey, if you're out of county, you're going to end up paying. So,
assuming we know where they live, because I have a spreadsheet of all my players' addresses, like I already know, I can kind of make that calculation myself.
Yes, sir.
Wouldn't it be easier if we just direct build them from the thing? Because my players aren't going to like having one guy paid 100, one guy paid 150. They'd be happy with splitting the cost amongst everybody on the team, and I could just send a direct bill to each player for like, you owe me 125, 125, and that'd be easier than me trying to collect $1,800 and then having 10 guys that owe $50 extra. Because I mean, it's going to be hard for them because they're going to pay their dues and they're like, wow, I got to pay 50 more. Like, and it's just kind of going to be fair for those who are asking, who live in county, and they're like, well, I didn't get that prompt because I live in Tyson's or something like that. So just an idea. If we have the capabilities, I like just to be able to send invoices like myself.
Right. Understood. We can take that offline and see if there's options.
Yeah.
The only thing is because it's, one of the drivers is because it's gone up so much, like if we're way off, $50 times X adds up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's substantial. It almost doubled. It went from 30 to 50. So, plus the per person fee, which we pay for everybody, went from 8 to 10. Not crazy, but it did go up across the board.
Cost to play soccer.
And that's one of our variables. That's one of our tough variables. Everything else is kind of systematic.
You owe me $75, you owe me $100. Just take your team for your
It's like, yeah. They're throwing out that individual roster registration, and they already paid their fees to me. They already Venmoed me money, and then they're like, I'm paying $50 more. It can get complicated, and then those guys probably can't register until.
The way this real quick. So the way the system is going to work is when you go in. So let's say it's $2,000, right? And it's going to be split amongst 18 players, right? So if you want to, the thing is that it's all based on this, what the player when you send them an invite, what they put. It's pulling from the zip code, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to advocate for certain things, but we've all played in different places that ask for that information. Now, as to what the player puts in, We're not responsible for that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm not telling you what you need to tell your players, what your players ought to do.
I'm not gonna audit their ID, basically.
Where-
Whatever their address is where they live.
And you know, that's the thing. Now keep in mind, Dane also manages the rosters when we submit it to the county and to our state affiliate. Now, obviously, if one person is using, if 4 people are using the same address, okay, that's going to raise red flags, right?
Got it.
Okay, so you catch my drift?
I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Thank you, Teddy.
All right, and we can talk more
We
offline.
can talk more
I
offline.
don't wanna- We try to enhance it to make it better for the whole. I know some people it's going to be worse, but we're trying to, and we'll take feedback after we give this a go.
Yeah, we're open to whatever. We're trying to modernize.
So the only difference in the base team fee is depending on what each league does. Some leagues want to play 10 games, some play 8, and we add playoffs and all that. So, we plug those variables in for the team base fee, and that's pretty straightforward. That's how we've done it the last couple of years. And that's pretty straightforward. We are moving to a performance bond for all divisions. So it's a $300 performance bond. Open division, we've done it for 3 or 4 seasons now, and we did not do it last season. We wanted to do it last season for the other divisions, but because of the cost increase for the county fees that we endured and you guys endured as a team fee, we held off. But I can tell you, it is a behavior changer. The open has really settled in, much nicer. We do less discipline there because there's $300 bond standing there that we can assess fines. And we don't just do it willy-nilly. We have a whole breakdown of how we do it, but the 30s and 40s should be expected to come off at $300 for a performance bond, which at the end of the season, if you don't come back, you get it back, or you can roll it over for next season. The whole idea is we don't want the money, right? We absolutely don't want to tax you guys that money. We want it there as a behavior enhancement feature. And that's pretty standard too.
Have we had the issues in over 42?
We'll get to it.
Yes.
We'll get to it. We'll get
Yes,
to
we
it.
have. Yes is your answer.
The answer is yes.
So I think, yeah.
Is the fee already what we see on the system, or is that?
No, it will be in addition to. Yeah.
And you pay
And
it
it's a
once.
one-time, so right, and it'll just roll over from there, or you get it back if you don't have it.
So players cannot pay, will have to pay.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think that's it for me. Any other questions? Like I said, the league is doing really well, and that's thanks to you guys, so I appreciate you guys being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The next few slides is gonna be real quick, guys. This is so that people we are running a live stream, so if you can, so the folks can hear, please. Okay. All right. Dane has kind of breezed through most of this stuff, so I'll just most of the slides is going to be whatever. Again, this was what happened last year, okay, and anyone who used a Fairfax County field was affected by it, okay. The spring field locations, you guys pretty much know where we are. The 30s, if we have 12 teams, which it looks like we are going to have 12, there'll be one Wednesday night game, okay? And I'll be at Robinson Upper. The rest of the games will be on Thursday night between Loisdale, Luther Jackson, Wakefield, and then for Sundays, the open and the 40s play. There's a pretty decent possibility we could have 20 teams total between the open and the 40s playing on Sunday. So that means we will be maxed out of field space if that happens. Okay. So right now we were actually in touch with the county today, and they're currently we're trying to assess some options that will allow us to be able to expand. I've been saying this every single meeting, we knew this day will come. So it's a good problem for us to have, and that's thanks to you guys.
What are the same fields for 40?
Yes, same fields. So we have Pine Ridge, Wakefield, and Robinson Stadiums, which the 40s will be using. And in Wakefield, we have 3 slots there. Okay. Field availability, again, just anticipate some limitations. When we got our permits, there are some blackout dates So we'll just have to do our best to work around it. Okay, so just please be patient with us. That is out of our control. We only have one overflow day, which is Monday night. So something I really want to stress to you guys: if you guys have to make up games, or you're one of your team, you can't play your opponent, you need to work it out with that opposing team, with that team manager, right? So if you need the contact information, send us an email. We'll get it to you, but don't expect us to facilitate everything for you. You guys need to do that on your own. The only thing we'll do is we'll tell the referees so they can get refs to come. Okay. All right. This is what everyone's been talking about. Here is the big thing that's happening. So changes to the system. Again, due to feedback, we've had people say, why is it that everyone has to pay that cost, or why shouldn't that person, if they live out of county, shouldn't they pay? So we took feedback, and so basically it's now the way it's going to be done is once the cost is set, we set it, and then you guys send out your invites. The only wrinkle, the biggest wrinkle to the system will be that if a player that is invited and it catches an out of county zip code, it will hit them with the $50 out of county fee, because we just got to pay it. And as I said, like what Dane said, him going over the budget, you heard the numbers. So if we go over, then that hurts us league-wide, right? So we now it puts a bill. Sorry, if your card has to be on file. So if you guys decide that, okay, I'm going to be gracious this season, because some team managers do pay for their whole teams. Some do it, or they want to, or maybe they'll allocate half. So maybe they'll say, all right, well, if it's 2,000, I'll take 1,000, and then split it amongst my guys, and I'll just eat up the rest. Then we can bill them separately for that, right? And then the players just pay that other half. Okay. Another new thing we're going to be adding in is, I was actually on a video call today with my buddy who's a web developer who's been building our site for us. We're doing things to speed up check-in, because I know, especially those who play at Wakefield midweek, it is a pain. And I know that our assigners are going to love this. I'll talk a little more about this. You guys will be required to put in a headshot, okay? So that will cut down on the check-in time. It is still up to the referee's discretion if they want to ask for ID to verify. Okay? Some people think, some people are probably thinking, we have a picture there, what's the point? Well, the point is that you still have to meet the age criteria to play in specific divisions anyway. So if that becomes a topic of suspicion, then they can ask for an ID so they can check and make sure that you're age appropriate to play in your specific divisions. We've had instances where players who are not of age, and that player is ineligible, and we've had to forfeit that match. So we will do our best to prevent that on the front end. Okay. Another thing too is now the captains need to invite their guest players onto the roster. Okay. We're not going to be doing any more on the field check-ins. I know it was a pain for some of the referees to manage that part of the system. But again, and sometimes too, if you have, the Masters level can have as many guest players as they want. The Open, you can have up to 5, but imagine, people are coming up, long names, whatnot. Referee has to sit there and type all that in. It just eats up time from when you guys should be playing. So that is a big change. Yes, Jake.
How far in advance do they need to be registered?
You can do it on the fly. You can go into your captain's portal and you can send it an invitation. They can do it on their phone right there.
Okay.
So it is
up to kickoff or check-in.
Yeah. Now, if for some reason they're not on there, if they're not on there, I'm sure you could work it out with the refs. Do it at halftime kind of thing. But the same rules are going to apply. You need to be on the roster before you can be checked into a match. Okay, because you need to sign the waiver. You need to do your headshot. You need to do all of those things. So, yes, Jason.
That brings up a great question.
Go ahead.
About the definition of a guest player, right? Because I've seen guest players in over 30 play on 3 different teams in the same season.
I'm about to get to that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
What's the maximum number of players per roster per game?
Okay, so Now the open is the most stringent. You can only have 18 players checked in the open division. So you have 18 players, you only get someone with seven subs on the bench, and that's it. And that's really that's hardwired in league rules. Okay. For Masters level, we kind of relax that obviously because we're older. Okay. So that you need bodies. We don't put a limit on the number of guest players for Masters level. So that will allow you to ensure that you will have the players that you need. But the bigger part is, and I'll get to it in a moment, is really when we send the information to the affiliate, it's really a huge liability issue we need to make sure that the players that are on that 18 is actually reflected on that, because if you have a player that gets injured and it's somehow been modified or changed, you are dead in the water. You won't get it. You won't get the insurance. And they also mandate for us to get that information to them in a month, a month after the season starts, which is going to change the open division rules regarding how far into the season you can essentially add or drop players. Okay, so yes, captain's going to be responsible for that, and they can still have headshots. Okay, I mean headshots need to be there, and then refs can still ask for ID if necessary. Okay, I already went all over this part here also as well. For the refs, again, you guys don't have to worry about doing on the field sign-ins anymore. So because if the captain comes in and says, "Hey, I need to check my player," and you got to tell them to.
That's great. I mean, that's a time saver.
Yeah, it's a huge time saver for you guys. Yeah. So because we do take feedback from the assigners as well when we make these changes. Okay. And also, too, you guys will be able to have 2 refs in the system now.
I see that. That's great.
You guys will have 2 refs in the system now to be able to check in. Okay. All right. Again, you might want to touch a little bit on this too, because I know you have some old school. You told us about this. So back in the day, correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the day, you guys had it to where once a roster was submitted, you guys were pretty much stuck with that between the spring and the fall sessions. So we're not quite getting back to that, but we need to get back to a set standard to where the rosters that are being submitted is absolutely static.
The core roster.
The core roster, your core 18. Okay, so what really should be done is, and the reason why we didn't really enforce it so much is because we didn't have the technology to be able to do it. And then on top of that too, at the time the league was not where it was, so we just did what we could to encourage teams to come and play. But with that being said, we have a month. It's a month after the season starts. We have to get the stuff to NDCVSA.
Yeah. So your full-time players are your 18 core roster players, full-time, that are paying this sum. That's who needs to be on the roster, and that's who we're submitting to be affiliated, right? Your guest players that you pick up for a one-off or 2-off just to make sure you can field a team, they're not going to be affiliated. We're not filing for them. They're guest players. So that's basically where we're at. So your 18-player roster is going to be locked down. That's your core group, and you're still going to have the ability to have your guest players. But we have to have that line in the sand to be able to pay NDCVSA for the affiliation, and we can't just have players in and out paying that affiliation fee, because it would get cost prohibitive for somebody coming in for one game and get stuck on the roster. So that's essentially how we've kind of structured it.
Jane, so that's a little different from last season, right? Because we were able to put up to 25 guys on the roster or something?
You still have that ability, but so 18 is going to be your core. Like all your guys that are committing full time, that's your core roster. You're still going to have that slush to 25 to be able to play with guests.
And will they carry from game to game? Like if we enter a guest, we don't do anything. So say we have 20 guys on our roster, but you're saying 18 is really committed.
Right.
2 are considered guests, but we don't have to enter them every single week, right?
No,
They'll stay
not unless you delete them. Once they
Okay.
register, they stay on there.
Okay.
They're not part of your core. They're not part of MDCVSA, so they are a guest. But if they leave or something and you need a spot, then you can delete them.
Okay.
You won't be able to delete your 18.
Yeah,
The
so-
18 core, they're gonna be locked in, frozen, you cannot remove them.
Those are the ones that are active or inactive, you know how you have those different toggle buttons? How you can have an active and an
Yeah,
inactive
so-
player? So
yeah.
the 18 would be the active ones?
Yeah, so there's going to be changes to the back. It's still going to be the same. We've just made it more
Got it.
efficient.
Got
Okay, so you're still.
Will those players still remain
someone
between
from
spring
Google has a
Not
question.
Register everybody every single season? Can we have something like that?
Are we going to have home and away games this season? Abdul, I'll answer that in just a second. Eli from Barbaros has a question. Eli, go ahead and unmute yourself, and please go ahead and ask your question.
I was just going to ask if there's like a permanent injury on one of the roster players, is there any possibility of swapping that out?
If you have something that is, huh? No. What's
no.
the answer is no. Okay. All right.
If that player's on your roster, your core group, and we've paid for the affiliation fee, they are locked into your roster. That's why you have the guest spots.
He'll be replaced by a guest player.
Yes.
That guest player won't be insured, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, we are giving the option that they could affiliate if they pay on their own.
Yeah.
That is an option. So if you have your 25 guys and you want
Garth, you want to come up so everyone can hear you?
Sorry, if you have the
No, come up to the front.
Okay.
Sorry, because the mic is over here, so they won't be able to hear you very well.
Yeah, so I know, like, we have the team, when we do the affiliation is a big deal for actually all of you guys, but like the young guys that want to put a team in like a state cup, or, like Jason's doing it right now, right? And then we have an over 50 team that did it this year, so. But when I was doing it before, the reason like affiliation is to let you go in to enter these tournaments. And like, we haven't seen that, and this is what we're trying to get more exposure for NVSL, to get back into those tournaments. And so we had like teams that would go to the nationals, and it's great exposure for us, and obviously it's great for you guys to have that experience. It's back with like when you're a kid playing state cup, and then you go to regionals and you go to nationals. You can still do it now. So but if you do have a roster and you have the 18, we're only paying for the 18, and we're only going to cover that. But then if you want the other guys, the 7, you pay those individually. That's fine. We'll do that.
What's the cost of that?
It's $20 a head.
$20.
Now, that's for the year. $20 for a year. What we do is we basically we split it across the 2 seasons. So it gets dicey. A lot of the veteran teams will be coming, most of their core groups coming back, so it works out. But some of the open teams, they come for 1 season and then leave, so we kind of lose money there. So try to work it out in the wash, but it's $20 for the year. And if you are going to a tournament and they want to charge you the tournament pass, you should reach out to us and do the NVSA path, because it's cheaper. And we're happy to facilitate that.
All right. Yeah. We play in the tournament in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And they charge you a fee, but like since we're affiliated, we don't have to pay that fee. You guys won't have to pay that fee. So anytime you go to a tournament that's affiliated, you're covered. Okay.
Abdul has a question here. So we're going to be having home and away games this season. So the way it's scheduled, there really is home and away. So each team is scheduled. You have whatever number of games. It's like half is scheduled as home and half is scheduled as away. Now, if you bring up to the ref at the center circle, most of the time some guys are like, "Who's the home team? Who's the home team? Who's the away team?" My experience, the refs do ask that, but again, I don't know if that's a question that they're looking to have answered. But they already do that already. Okay, so back to this, yeah. And guys, these are good questions. These are why we have these meetings. Okay, so again, with across the league, again, with open, you have your reserve players that are there. and you have your guest players that are there. So there really shouldn't be a reason to where you're struggling for players. The only thing really is that you can't carry guest players into the postseason. To answer Jason's question about guest players hopping from team to team, you shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. And this is where, again, like we can only do so much on the technological side, right? We can only do so much. That is actually one of the things that we're working on right now, and we're hoping to have it rolled out by the time the season starts. But if you guys see that, you guys need to tell us that. Okay, we can't, like, you know, it's sometimes it's a little frustrating when something happens after the fact and 4 or 5 people knew about it and we're the last to know about it, or you didn't tell the ref, or we didn't get anything. Like, you guys got to communicate with us when these things happen. We're a staff of 3 people and there's 30 teams. With how many players do we have? League-wide, Dave?
It was 600. 600.
How do you expect us to police that? It's too much. You guys have to do your part. You know, if you see someone do something they shouldn't be doing, call them out. Hey, you know you shouldn't do it. Tell them.
Are you only allowed to guest play for one team though, or can you guest play for multiple teams? That's the question I had, because like I've seen players play for multiple teams.
Well, I don't do that, and I tell my guys, like, you shouldn't be bouncing from team to team anyway, because I mean these are kind of.
I've seen players who team got eliminated and they played in the playoffs. That's what I've seen.
Yeah,
so they play
that's right.
So that's what I'm talking about. It's like we need to have some some sort of checks and balances there.
Well, so
I have no visibility to anybody else's roster. If I could see their roster, that might help me from adding a player to my roster that might already be rostered on another team.
So this is what you should do. When we have our votes here pretty soon, if you are stringent like the Open to where they lock their rosters down, you're not going to have that problem, right? And I think with us having this ability to freeze the rosters anyway is probably going to help cure that issue. But we are working on something to basically track guest players. So we're still trying to figure that out. But again, that's going to take, I'm not saying anyone should be a narc or rat anyone out, but at the same time, I mean, we all have a responsibility to be, to call out when something is not right. Okay. 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 Let's see. All right. We've already talked about this. Again, the importance of player check-ins. Guest players, the costs. Again, if you have a player that wants to be affiliated and we have that coverage, you got to pay for it. Okay, so email us that information, and we'll Dane will work with you on that. We're trying to get co-ed back up and going. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but we do have a Saturday co-ed. It's more recreational, casual level. We've been trying to push that. So if anyone's interested and has any team leads, please send those teams to us. Performance bond, we've already talked about that. This is going to be going league wide. I'm just going to bang through these real quick. Over 40 between the spring and the fall. They're long and short of it, they're too many game defaults. So the whole point of the bond is to get you guys to come out and play. It is unacceptable when teams have put in quite a bit of effort and you don't show up to play. The refs have scheduled these guys to come and work. They lose out on their game count. Some drive an hour and a half away to come, and then for that to happen, that is not cool. So if you default on a game, we will take that money out of your bond. If need be, we can also assess a fine on top of that. We've done it before, and unfortunately, it's come to this. It should not be happening. It's really frustrating when the assigners call us and have to tell us this. Okay?
Unless it's worked out between the 2 teams that there's some.
You have to work it out way in advance. You need to work that out way in advance so we know. We had an instance happen with the 30s where Halloween came up and everyone's kids had to go trick or treat. Okay? That was a pain and the A-double you know what to, but we pulled it off. But things like that you have to get ahead of it, right? So that we can. That was an extraordinary circumstance. But you gotta get ahead of these things and let us know in advance, so we can try and work it out with you. But we don't have we don't have a lot of bandwidth because we just don't have a lot of fields. And that's just the reality of it with us and other leagues in the area. Okay? With the 30s, during the summer, there were teams who were defaulting, and what happens? We've had teams who then come up to us and say, can we get reimbursed? Well, that eats into our budget. You've seen how much money we spend. That eats into our budget. We have to go and pay teams for games that they haven't played, right? You know, we invest in all this stuff for you guys. That takes out of your pocket. You shouldn't be paying for other people's, you know, not wanting to show up for games, okay? Curbing issues, right? You know, again, we live stream a lot of games, and people watch these games, and so when you decide to have some choice words to the official and the mic picks it up, we hear it, okay? Look, you know, and you're seeing what U.S. Soccer is doing now when it comes to this kind of stuff. And even with our league, we've been consistent across the board. Doesn't matter. We don't care if you've had pro players in your team who played here and play there. We don't care. Just, you know, be mindful of your conduct, and that's the reason why the performance bond is there. And as Dane said, when we put that there, game defaults practically went down to almost nothing, and we didn't have any major issues of conduct across the game. You know, you average 1 or 2 a season, but we weren't having to adjudicate so many issues. Okay. Again, more on performance bond. It's a budgetary item. It's mandatory. It's a budgetary item that the league board can set. So that's it. Again, we don't want your money. We want you to show up to your games and be cool and go have beers at Kilroy's afterwards. Okay. When you leave or you want your bond back, let us know. We'll give it to you. We also use that to offset in case a team doesn't show up to a game, then we can compensate that team for that lost game. We've been doing it in this league for decades. That's what it is. We're not going to pass that cost on to somebody else. Okay? If that bond is exhausted, you have 7 days to replenish it. Otherwise, you will have to take steps. And again, we implemented this bond for the Open in spring of 2023, and it's worked wonders. And the team managers all were cool with it. All right, let's see how many slides we have. We're going to start voting here pretty soon. Okay, I just want to blast through these things. Again, these are just some suggestions that, you know, either I've heard a little bit of feedback or stuff that I just threw in here that I believe could help each division, and it's kind of a cross-pollination of what other divisions are doing that works for them, and perhaps you guys can choose to adopt it tonight, or you can keep doing what you're doing. It's up to you. So the over 40 division, usually Garth will say, oh, man, so-and-so needs players. You guys can take a page from the Open division. It has been extremely busy this spring preseason. Adam, I'll point to you real quick. Are you okay with that? He's about to have his 3rd tryout here. Okay? He was at Wakefield. When was your tryout, your last tryout you had?
On Sunday.
On Sunday. How many people did you have?
There's like 25 people.
Yeah, 25 people show up. So if you want to pipeline players into your team, have tryouts. So the 40s, and when we're running announcements and stuff, players are contacting the league looking for a place to play. Doesn't mean all of them are going to be good, but that's the reason why you have tryouts. So, you know, the 40s should definitely do that. Social media pages are free. They take 2 seconds to set up. Do it. You know, tag your team, whatnot. We'll share it. Sometimes we've had people say, hey, I want to go play for that team. How do I contact them? Go DM them, right? So that works too. And then whatever league format for over 40s you guys decide to come up with, please commit to it, right? There's always going to be meaningless games, right? Like if your team, you know, has to play a consolation game because you got knocked out of the playoffs, there's no reason for you not to show up for that consolation game. That's where we've been seeing some of those defaults come up, right? So, you know, whatever it is you guys decide, stick to that format and commit to it. Over 30 division was fired last season. We had 10 teams. Last spring we had 12 teams, and it looks like we're going to go back to having 12 teams again. You know, when the division expands, you have to allot for more slots to just to have that bit of parity there. That's just my opinion. But you know, there's some people who whispered that, and so that's why I'm bringing it up. And the big reason, one, is if we're going to go to a double-digit number of teams, which is going to happen again, you know, the top 6 teams have winning records. And I'm going to take a page from the Open this fall and in the summer. During the summer, we have 4 quarterfinal rounds. 3 of them went to PKs to decide a winner. So that shows you how close the level of competition is. Same thing happens in the fall as well. They decided to vote, Open decided to vote to have a quarterfinal round, and Veloco, you can say that you could attest to the quality that we saw. There's really not much separating those teams. And if you want, and I think it's also a good way to incent teams to get better and to stay, right? But if you limit it to just 4, you know, you're not providing an opportunity. It's great if you have 8 teams, that makes sense. But when you get to double-digit teams, it's just, you know, the World Cup's expanded to 48 teams. They're going to allot for more slots, right? And then also as well, if you go to such a format, hey, the top 2 teams, you guys can get a break. The old guys, we deserve a break, right? You get a bye week, you can rest your body, you don't have to play a week. So, you know, something to think about. The overtime format, I think Jason brought that up for last year. I think that's great, which will parlay me to the last item for the first suggestion for the men's open division. You guys are young. There's no reason why you shouldn't have an overtime format, at least for your championship game, right? So I encourage you guys to brainstorm and think about that. The 30s decided to have a 10-minute overtime period split to 2. So you have a 5-minute, 2 5-minute periods. It's up to you what you guys want to do. But I encourage the Open to do that, especially how competitive it is. Why not open it up a little bit, right? Something to think about. And we will also have the field space and the time to do it, because there's not as many games going on. We wouldn't be able to do it for semifinals and quarterfinals because we're sharing the field with other divisions. But if you're the championship game, there's no other games in front of you, behind you, you can do it. Okay.
If you can't get it done in 90 minutes, what's an extra 10 minutes going to be?
Hey, and if the older guys are doing it, you know, you guys in your 20s, you should be able to do it. A hard change that's going to be coming. It is in the league rules, and every other division is doing it. The 30s and the 40s set up and put away the goals. Open, you will start doing it. I've spoiled you guys for far too long. I recently had knee surgery. Okay, so I can't go and do that for you guys anymore. But I shouldn't really be doing it anyway, right? There's 40 of you guys and 1 of me. Okay? It just takes 2 guys. It will take you less than 5 minutes to do it.
And it must be done, guys.
And it has to be done. Yeah, we can't have the goals out. Braddock Road will take them away from us, and then we just don't. So you guys have to start doing it, okay? And then you guys need to clarify how many folks, non-players, you know, coaching staff, how many you're going to have on the sideline. We've been having too many problems of your buddies coming down and hanging out over there, your kids coming out and hanging out down over there on the side of the field. You cannot have, players and spectators cannot mix on the same side of the field. I think we all know this. Anyone who's played from youth all the way up, you know this. So the refs can only do so much to tighten this, but what I want you guys to do is, you know, come up with, you know, do you want to have 2 coaches? 2 coaches and a trainer. 2 coaches, a trainer, and a camera guy. I don't know, think of something. Because I don't want us to come and mandate and say, just, okay, you can only have 2 guys outside of your bench players and that's it, right? So please come up with something this evening, okay? I already mentioned this before. Again, field etiquette, please don't cut through the field when the game's going. You wouldn't want something to happen. If your team is playing, when you're warming up, be on the side of the field. Don't kick the ball into an ongoing game, right? When Braddock Road is playing, please don't cut through the field. They are gracious to allow us to let them use the field. I know personally of user groups that have had their permits taken away over this. And we're almost out of room. So we'll end up going backwards. That means some teams won't be able to play. So please, please, please. 40s also as well. When you guys come through Robson, please. Okay? So when the field is in use, stay off the field and let them and tell your spectators where they need to be also as well. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah, real quick, State Cup, guys. Last thing. For State Cup, you know, this is something that NVSL was heavy in back in the day. I think we used to host quite a bit of them. And it doesn't cost that much. Garth, do you want to come talk? How much does it cost to enter a team in State Cup?
The State Cup is, what was it, $450.
$450, okay? Really think about it, guys. This is like the time of your lives to really enjoy this level of play when you can. The opportunities to play, you know, teams outside have a chance to go to nationals, right, or make it to regionals. Our over 40 team made it to the regional semifinals last year, and even had a game played at Robinson. And I think Rashid was there for that game. It was a well-played game. So it's something to really consider. Rampage entered. I know you guys are champs by default. I think you're playing a team out of Pennsylvania, I believe. I saw them do the draw in Atlanta on the table, so I think you guys are playing a team in Pennsylvania. I'll have to double check on that. Lumark has an over 40 and over 50 team in there. All right, so really take advantage of this, right? And so, okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to the votes. Okay, so we'll go by division. I will call out the roll. I'm going to skip to this real quick, so I don't have to go over it later on. You guys should know what's necessary when it comes to how old you need to be to play in the divisions, especially in the open. MDCVSA has safe sport regulations. If there's a person under the age of 18 and you get caught, it's not good. So, and if we catch you, it's not good. So please make sure your players are 18 years old to play. 30s and 40s, you guys already know the drill regarding this. You can have 3 underage players per game. They need to be, start with the 30s, you could be 28 years old or turning 28 in the calendar year. Garth, I'm correct on that? Okay. 28 in the calendar year, you can have 3 per game. So, now, we don't really track that so much, but we haven't gotten any complaints. So, please continue to do the right thing. Likewise, with over 40 division, if you're 38 or you're turning 38 in the calendar year, you qualify to play, you can have 3 of those players per match. Okay? Oh, and I forgot one other suggestion too also as well. For the over 30 division, I really encourage you guys to, we have a thriving open now, and there's some guys who are coming age eligible to come and play in the 30s. So come out to a game on Sunday. You can start a pipeline of players coming from open into the 30s. And let's keep those players here, right? Okay, the 40s do a great job, and they recruit from the 30s. So I encourage the 30s to do that with the open. Okay, there's some open team managers here, so start talking to them, all right? Okay, all right, we're going to go ahead and start voting now. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this now because we don't need to do this anymore.
Hey, Ted, you forgot to mention something important here.
Tell me.
The team captains all have access to a free agent list.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You guys know in your captain's portals, you all have access to the free agent list. We built that like over a year ago. I sometimes try to put this into emails. Maybe it's not being read, but you guys can also have tryouts by sourcing players from there, right? So take a look at that list. You never know. Jason found a gold mine of a player. He played pro somewhere in Finland and was just destroying everybody. So, okay. All right. So on to the votes now. So real quick, if there's anything that you want to bring to the floor at this time, please do. Oh, we've had some questions here. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Let me answer these questions real quick. All right, Abdul, can NVSL put a player transfer rule because some players will start with one team and end up playing with one team, another team at the end of the season? There is a transfer rule. There is a transfer rule in the books. There is. And we also have an internal policy regarding that. The team manager needs to be notified of it first, right? They have to notify it. They need to tell us. And so if a player is going to be leaving, the team manager needs to know about it, right? A player can't just sneak off and go to another team. Now again, Abdul, when that kind of thing happens, and you guys see, you need to be telling us this stuff. There's 600 players in the league. We can't police everything. We can do everything we can, but if someone is sneaking through or using a different ID or doing whatever, we can only do so much. But I'll say this, the consequences are harsh if a player is caught doing that. We once had a player, I think a couple years ago, try to go sneak a player for another team, and we said, you do that again, we're going to throw you out. So, and I have admonished teams for that kind of behavior. So if you see it, please let us know. Okay, Jonathan from Syndicate has a question. I'm going to read it out. If we want to have our 18 squad players, then 12 players as reserve players, could we have those extra 12 players available to play? In our case, we want to have competition and motivation to commit to our team by installing reserve players. Each week, if our reserve players can outperform the players in our roster, we want to give them an opportunity to play. Does that question make sense, Dane? Should I read it again? It's up here.
I don't know the answer to that, Teddy.
I've never had this before. So, okay, this is how it is currently, right? The way it is, you have your 18 primary guys, 19 through 25, that's 7 extra players who are in your reserves. Okay, now those players can be checked in during the game. The ref has access to that on the list. But I guess, you know, if you want to...
So Teddy, so he says he's got 12 reserves?
No, what he's saying is... Yeah, if you want to come up here and take a look at it.
You basically have the guest slots above 18, right? You get the 6, or the 7 slots, can't even add now. So the 7 slots for those reserve players to use.
Maybe I can clarify on Jonathan's behalf, but what we're trying to do is to increase our roster. So if we can go above the 7 players, like instead of having 25 on the roster, have somewhere 30, because we had an enormous amount of players want to come in and who bring talent to the team, and we want to kind of use that as competition for our current players and mess around with that. So I guess to clarify is, can we increase the roster number to like 30, or is 25 the set number?
It's a hard rule. It's a hard rule.
25 is it.
25 is it. It's a hard rule. Now, what you can do is, I mean, obviously, what we care about is having your primary 18. Now, I guess what we and this is where something you guys are going to have to vote on. The Open needs to vote on changing your rule regarding when you can add and drop players. So, Teddy, I'll get to you in just a second. Call my namesake. So, one thing that I'm thinking here regarding this is that the only other way would be, by a certain point of the season, you probably should know who you're really going to be going with. Okay, I get it. You want to take everybody with you, but in reality, that's not how the world works, right? So what I'm suggesting to you guys, right, is that we could maybe give you up to 3 or 4 weeks to have that settled, because that's around the time we need to get this stuff submitted. So maybe we can, if that's something you guys want to vote on, and then we can decide that, and then we can do a hard lockdown at that point.
Okay.
And you guys,
what's the rule right now as far as like when to lock down?
So the current rule, again, the current rule we have this is division specific. In the appendix for the Open division, you are allowed basically all the way up until the last game of the regular season. But the problem is that we weren't really following what admin really should be doing. We were kind of letting it go for everybody, right? So what we do for one, we let go for everybody. But we're trying to rein it in and get back to where it ought to be, which is those rosters really need to be accurate when we send them up. Okay. Dane, is there anything you want to add on that? No? Okay. So, all right. So yes, you know, I'd say probably by week 4, that's halfway through the season, you should probably know who your guys are at that point.
Yeah.
So if you want to, then at that point you have your 18, but you have 7 reserve players, then you can identify those guys at that point. Okay. And we would love feedback on this too. We're trying to get better, right? Okay. Coach Teddy, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Just to reiterate and to add to a gentleman who just spoke about the roster list, I know that just like the league is trying to increase the number of teams, individual teams as well trying to attract more players. I know you guys have a hard numbers on 18 to register for a game. At least if you expand the 25, at least, you know, we can have more players on our roster, and then we can pick 18. That would also help us that any guest player that comes in, and instead of, you know, changing and adding him on the portal on the spot, and we'll have him, you know, on the list ahead of time. That way, at least, you know, just like give and take. You guys, you know, you guys are hard on 18 players. At least give us the space for 25 numbers. Just give us, like the gentleman said, in the 30 players or 35, whatever, so we can attract more players. You know, so that way, throughout the season, we can try out all the players that we have on our roster. When it comes to, you know, playoff, we can have the hardcore 18 players that have been committed, determined to be part of the team. And so that way, it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Coach Teddy, thank you for your point. The reason why that 18 is there, that's not us. If you read the USSF policy handbook, that's how they do it, right? So if you play under U.S. Soccer, like from MLS all the way down, that's how the most you can have is 18 on the game day roster. That's how it is.
But you have 25 slots.
But you have so you have 25 slots. So of that 25, you can pick any 18 you want per game. So it's not an NVSL thing. Most affiliated leagues, that's what they do. They follow USSF as closely as they can, and that's.
I think you're missing my point. I do understand the 18 players. What I'm saying is, why don't you expand the 25 players so that way, if you have more players, you know, each team can have, you know, some team might have 18, some people may have 40, but we can, you know, you're punishing the 40-player teams just to have 25. I'm just suggesting. I'm not arguing it. Just my point is, it would be, you know, each coach can go out and say, you know, if you're a player, come join us. But if I already have 25 players, if another 4 or 5 players come, I cannot tell them to come join my team because I'm already have 25 players. Does that make sense?
I think I'm following you. You guys want to take a stab at this? And y'all want to take it? Because I don't know how else to really answer. I don't have the institutional knowledge to.
Listen, we're being incredibly liberal with the 25. Back in the day, it was 18. That's what you had, 18 players.
18 trouble.
There was no guests, there was none of that. So it's really evolved to being a pretty generous system with those players. And those players between 19 and 25, you can delete one and add another one, right? So
you can interchange those players.
Yeah. So
interchange them. Yeah.
So your best. The only workaround you can have is those reserve players from 19 through 25. That's 7 people. So if you want to change those people out, right, and add those guys in, okay, that's fine. But at some point there has to be a hard and fast cutoff, because I mean that's just, you know, again, that's just how it is. I can't really bend policy that is long superseded us. So we're not trying to punish anybody. Yes, we want to attract people to come and play. Heck, if you have that large pool of a player, they should form a team and and you know, and jump in. Now, the only other thing I can say, and this was back then when the league was a lot larger. You know, we had, I think we had 3 or 4 open divisions at some point. So there were some clubs that had such a large pool of players that they were able to field like one team in lower division and they had another team playing in a higher division. They did do that. But you know, again, we're not trying to punish anybody. We welcome everybody to come and play here. But at some point there has to be a limitation. As I said, 18 is a standard USSF policy. Travel teams do it. Anyone that plays under U.S. Soccer, that's just the nature of it. That's how it is. But we can talk more about it offline if you like. Okay. All right. One more question, and we got to get to votes. Let's see here. There is Jonathan has a couple questions here. Okay. Is it 7 reserve players with separate 5 guests? We had a lot of injuries and absences last season. Okay, yes, Jonathan. So players 19 through 25 are your reserve guys, and you have a separate set of 5 guest players. The only thing is the guest players that when you get to playoff, the guest players cannot play for you in playoffs. It's just up to you. You pick a pool out of 25 players per game. Okay, and. He has another question that says, oh, it's up here. What am I doing reading the screen, struggling? Which took from our core players, since we had tryouts, we found more quality players. We would like to be able to create competition all season long. Good point. Good point. But again, you know, you can only do so much. You can only do so much. Like what Dane said, you know, 18. That's what it was back then. That was it. So we're already going above and beyond that. All right. Okay. Let's get to the votes, guys. Let's get to the votes. Okay. Let's do a quick roll here. I want to take. Has everyone in the room signed this?
I need to sign it.
Okay. Yeah. Please come up and sign it. I need to know who's here. Guys who are Jonathan. Excellent questions. Thank you. All right. Those who are still on the call. Please go ahead and I want to make sure I capture those teams that are here on the call so that you guys have an opportunity to vote. We're going to bang through these out really quick. I'll start with the open, then we'll go with the 30s, and then the 40s, and we're going to close out and get out of here. Okay? All right. Let's start. Okay. Those on the call, the open teams, let's just go ahead and start. Let me know. Open teams on the virtual call, please let me know who you are so we can make sure that you have opportunity to vote.
Teddy, this is Faiz. I'm still on the call. I think Yusuf from my team should also be on the call. Okay. Ariana FC. But if he's not, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Faiz. Ariana FC. Okay, thank you. All right, are there any other open teams on the call? I think, is Barbaro still on the call?
Teddy Adair here from The Classic Air.
Okay, Die Classicer. Any other open teams still on the call?
Yeah, Teddy, this is Teddy.
Coach Teddy, gotcha, Coach Teddy. Hey, you know, we have the best names in the business, Coach.
I agree.
Okay, Jan Meta, we have Jan Meta here. Okay, any other open teams?
Jonathan from Syndicate.
Okay, we also have Adam. Adam is here. Do you want him, or do you want to?
Yeah, he can answer for us, yeah.
Okay, he already signed in. Okay, anyone else? I know some folks dropped off because it ran a little over, but these are important things that we have to go over so you guys are prepared for this upcoming season. Okay, Abdul will be for DMV Supreme. Abdul, thank you. This pen's not working. There, Garth, y'all want to volunteer to be take minutes? Oh, they ran away. Okay. All right, I guess I'll do it myself. I'll wait for one of them to come. Okay, over 30, are there any over 30 teams on the call? Are there any over 30 teams? I see Dan.
Yes, Adam from Supernova.
Okay, Adam, Supernova.
Hey, Teddy, Dan United.
Okay, Supernova. Dan, United. Okay, any other over 30 teams on the call?
No, Lou Mark over 30.
Patrick, thank you. Okay.
Hi Teddy.
Yes.
I am Gaston. I'm not sure if Andy is here or Barra Brava.
Okay. Gaston, Barra Brava. I'll put you.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here and Gaston can go, of course.
Okay. Gaston.
Okay, you can vote him, man.
Okay. Thank you. After you answer this, please go ahead and mute yourself so we don't get feedback. Okay. Any other over 30 teams on the call? Okay, over 40 teams. Any over 40 teams on the call? Okay, all right. We will move to men's open voting. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. Definitely regarding the changing of when you guys have to lock your rosters down. Again, following the rules from above, we have to work around that. Okay. So, all right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and call the roll here for men's open. So we have Wash Boys. We have Wash Boys. We have Syndicate. We have Ariana. We have Die Classicer. We have Jan Mena.
You were hurt last year.
DMV Supreme. Okay. All right. So the open teams that I have is Wash Boys, Syndicate, Ariana, Die Classicer, Jan Mena, and DMV who are here to vote. Did I miss any open teams? Okay, all right, so at last check, we currently have, from my understanding, we have 9 committed open teams. I believe there is a 10th. So let's make sure we knock out 3 things here real quick. First off, is there anything specific that the open teams want to vote on? Is there anything specific? Okay, all right. All right, we need to go ahead and settle y'all's game count. Do you guys want to break out and have a quick caucus, or should we blow through it? Yeah, we need to blow through it, guys, because we spent too much time here. Okay, all right. Okay, open teams. When do you guys want to have your losses locked down? Because you really have up to 4 weeks.
Up to 4 weeks? I'd say late. Yeah, as late as we can.
As late you want? Okay. So you have until week 4. Okay. Okay. Week 4. Okay. Open teams on the call. All right. All right. The question is, okay, you guys all good with having your rosters locked down at week 4? Okay. Okay. I see thumbs coming up.
I mean, what would be the incentive of even doing it earlier?
Okay. If there's no objection, then that's what it's going to be. Okay.
So
yes.
I'm trying to be clear with that. So And instead of 2 games prior to the playoff, the roster will be locked in at week 4?
Because we need to tighten down now. We have to get those names in. So that will give you guys enough time to have your rosters locked in.
Okay.
Okay? So at that time, I think that a month is plenty of time. You should know. Okay? All right. If that's without objection, then that's what we're going to go with. Okay. All right. Next up. Okay. Is there anything? All right. Number of games. Dane, I think we're going to have to start getting the prices here. Dane, I think we're ready to start doing pricing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, all right, guys. Open division. Last year, you guys had an 8-game regular season. You had 10 teams. You had a quarterfinal round. Right now, as I have 9 hard confirmations. I am expecting a 10 or more. So if that be the case, are you guys? If we are under 10, are you guys okay with top 4? Okay, it's under 10. Top 4, 8 regular season games. If we get to 10, are you guys doing okay? Same thing, doing top 6 like we did last year.
Yeah.
Top 6. All right. Okay, top 6. 10 teams.
The top 4 if 9 teams, top 6 if 10 teams.
Yeah, basically, 10 or less, it's 4. If we get to 10, okay. All right. Okay. Do we have any objections to that? Okay. How many games you guys want to play? 8-game regular season like you guys did last season?
Yeah.
Any objections?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Dane, if we are under 10 teams, then it'll be a top 4. If it's 10 or more, it'll be top 6.
So two semis and a final. Two games for the semi and a final.
Yeah, semifinal if it's top 4. Yeah.
1775.
Okay. Top 4. That's 8 teams. And that's how. And then you said how much? The base price?
8 games.
8-game regular season.
Yeah.
Base price?
1775.
1775. Again, the wrinkle is it's a lower base price, but you got to take account for out of county. Okay. Are there any other items that Open Division wants to bring to the floor? Okay. All right.
If it is the 8 plus 6, how much would that be? The price would be the same?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Talk about the top 6.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I'm just trying to find out if there's any other items.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, you're fine. Okay. All right. If we get to 10 or more teams and you do a top 6 playoff, that means you're gonna have a quarterfinal, semifinal, final. The top 2 teams are gonna be out on a bye.
So say that again now.
If it's 10 teams.
Yeah.
10 teams, and you do a top 6 for playoffs. So that means there's going to be a quarterfinal round.
So it's
same 8-game regular season.
1835. I'm sorry, Teddy. 1820.
1820. Okay. So, all right. So that's basically what it is. So if we're stuck on 9, I'm pretty sure we'll have a 10. But if it's 9, if it's under 10 teams, it's going to be top 4. You're going to have a semifinal, final for playoffs. The cost is $17.75. If we have a top 6 like we did last season, having 10 or more teams in there, then the cost 8-game regular season plus playoffs for the top 6 qualifying teams. The cost will be $18.20. That is your base price. Okay. All right. Moving on. Over 30 division. Do you do you guys want to have a different overtime format for championship? Or you want to just go straight to PKs for open?
Oh, yeah. Overtime for sure. Yeah.
What do you guys want to do for that?
You said the championship game?
Mm-hmm. If you make it to a championship, how much overtime do you guys want to play?
How much can we? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can do up to standard FIFA regulation, which is what, 2 15-minute.
Two 10 minutes is 10 minutes is fine.
Yeah, I think 2 10 minutes.
Is 2 10 minutes? Okay. 2. So Bluck, I'll send you to work that 2 10-minute. 2 10-minute halves for OT in championship. Okay, if there are no objections to that, that's what it's going to be. Okay, all right. Okay, guys, all right. I don't see anything less, unless there's anything else for open. So this is what it is. You have by week 4, your rosters need to be decided because we will lock it at that point. Okay. Your pricing, if we have 10 or more teams, it'll be a top 6, 18, 20. If it's under 10 teams, it is $17.75, and that's based on an 8-game regular season. Okay, and then 2 10-minute halves for a championship game. And open, guys, y'all can go home. Okay, next up is over 30.
All right, we're done now, Teddy?
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Over 30, you guys are next up. Let's roll through these, guys. Over 30, I need your attention, please. Over 30, I need your attention. All right, let's come a little close up. Okay, let's knock this out here. My wife is waiting for me. Okay. Everyone's is. I know. So we gotta get back to our wives. Okay. All right. First off, have you guys thought about or decided what format, regular season and/or playoff format you want to do?
How many teams are we gonna have?
It is looking like we're gonna have 12. There is gonna be double digit. There will be double digit.
But I think we should expand the playoff system if that's the case.
I agree.
Okay, if you guys if you guys want to expand the playoff system, then okay, fine. Let's put that to the side. How many regular season games you guys want to play? Last season it was 9. So do you want to do it to where you do 1 less regular season game and allot that for an extra round, or you want to do 9 regular season games plus 3 rounds of playoffs?
When does the season start?
March 20th.
March 20th?
March 20th. We take Easter off, don't we? Yeah. Coach Teddy, you will not play on Easter, all right? We won't have any games on Easter. Major holidays, you won't have games.
So how many playoff games would that be?
Thank you.
Regular season games, and then extend to
Well,
the first round. How many teams will qualify to playoffs?
It will be a top 6.
6.
Okay, good. I think 9 games, if the team, if we're gonna go to 12 or more teams, 9 games is still fine.
No, the max is 12. We can't have any more teams than 12.
Right, I understand, but 9 games I think still holds.
I think it does, yeah. That's good. We could go all the way to June 12th with 1 extra day, with 1 extra week for makeup games with that format with 9 quarterfinals, semifinal, final.
Okay, I have not looked at the calendar for any conflicting holidays. Okay, so all right.
If it starts on the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So are all the over 30 teams in favor of having a 9-game regular season?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that is unanimous.
Yes.
9-game regular season. Well, to open, you guys are going to have to catch up. The old guys are playing more games than y'all. Okay, 9-game regular season. Okay, that has been agreed to. All right.
Do we have option for that?
Huh?
Do we have option for that?
It's too late now. I asked everybody. I asked, is there anything you guys want to bring to the floor? Nobody said anything. So you can bring that up for the fall session. Okay. All right. Okay, 9-game regular season has been agreed to by the men's over 30 division. What do you want your playoff format to be?
Top 2 or bye?
Top 6.
Top 6 make it, top 2 the bye, and then quarterfinals.
Top 2 bye, and quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Top 6 qualified?
Yep.
And then, so that means I'll automatically be on a bye. Okay. All right, do you want to keep your championship format the same? Do you want to just have 2 5-minute extra time?
That's fine, yeah.
We'll keep the extra time format will remain the same. Okay, all right.
So the quarterfinals is just the bottom 4 teams, right? So
Yeah.
6. So
Yeah, the top 2 will be on the bye.
2 games, and then a final.
All right, so it'll be quarterfinal, semifinal, final. So your teams 3 through 6.
So 5 games. 5 games for the playoffs. Total.
I'm thinking of rounds. Okay, so 1 quarterfinal. Okay, 2 quarterfinal. It'll be 2 quarterfinal games, 2 semifinal games. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, that's 5. Yeah. It's the beauty of having this decided. You guys can decide this on the fly. So you guys know.
Just to confirm, it was 9 season games.
9 regular season.
And then top 6 plays, so 2 quarterfinal games, 2 semis, 1 final.
Yes.
1950.
That is $19.50. Again, that is the base price, guys. So, again, individual players might be paying a little bit more. They live out of county. Again, we will take feedback on this. So please track the feedback you're getting from your teams regarding this. Okay.
Like 300.
Performance bond is separate. That's separate. Okay. All right. Okay. Everyone is good with the top 6?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
That's what I was gonna ask too.
Okay, is there any other items over 30 division needs to bring to the floor?
We said 1950. Is that
Cost is $19.50 for a 9-game regular season plus playoffs for the top 6 teams.
Do the bottoms get any consolation games?
No consolation games.
Can you send them over?
That is dead in the water.
That's fine. That's probably for the best.
Yes.
So this excludes performance bonds and out of county.
Correct. That is the base price.
Okay.
That is the base price. Okay? Is there anything else that the over 30 division wants to bring to the floor? Or you have to wait till the fall? Okay, to wrap it up, 9-game regular season, $19.50, top 6 qualify for playoffs, extra time format's the same, 2 5-minute halves. Okay, over 30, thank you guys so much, have a good night.
Thank you, Teddy. Hey, thanks, Tess.
Yes.
Quick question, Teddy. Did you say the first game's March 20th?
Yes. Well, actually, I take that back. Over 30s, real quick. If we do get to 12 teams, which is very likely, your first game will be on Wednesday.
What are we
First
at
game
right
will be on
now?
Wednesday. We are at not this Wednesday. Next the 19th. Yes. Where are we at? 11.5. Let me just double check on that 12. I'm 80% that 12 is in.
Is that game at lowest Dale on Wednesday? Every week?
That's upper.
Upper.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay. All right. Over 40. Over 40. Hey, guard. Over 40.
We're good.
Okay.
Wait. I heard one. You've been sitting over there by yourself. You saw me. I was here. Please go over what it is. Have you changed anything? Have you changed anything? Same thing is fine.
Okay.
But what is the cost?
Okay. Okay. All right. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you guys for attending the meeting this evening. That will conclude the spring 2025 managers meeting. All right. Thank you guys.
FC Toronto, like,